here at the Boys and Girls Club of Alamance County in Chastity. We have an interesting matchup tonight. The first Ric Converse against a newcomer here to the CWF Mid-Atlantic and Manny Garcia.
I don't know how I feel about Manny. He came out here kind of like he owned the place, and if anybody owns the place, it's definitely going to be the first Ric Converse. He's a 6-time world champion. 6 times.
I got to give it to you, Ric Converse is turning over a new leaf here in the CWF Mid-Atlantic. No longer affiliated with the Aftermath. He's more of a fan favorite here, shaking hands with the crowd, kissing babies. He should be in a good matchup tonight against the newcomer, Manny Garcia.
And it's really interesting to watch Ric Converse be a fan favorite, because in all the years that I've been with CWF, which granted hasn't been too many, he's always been such a jerk. So to see the softer side in Ric Converse is very appealing. I like that in him.
Well, I really don't know too much about this Manny Garcia guy. All I know is that he's from the Dominican Republic, and he felt as though he's here in the CWF because we disrespected the Dominican Republic. That's all I know so far.
When did we do that?
Well, from my understanding, we don't have a Dominican flag up in the sportatorium, and we don't mention too much about Dominican athletes here in the CWF. We have Puerto Rican and Mexican athletes, but we don't have any Dominican athletes. So he's here to show why the Dominican Republic should be represented in the CWF.
Well, we have the first Ric Converse and the first Dominican in CWF. There's no need to take offense to it. People like that.
Colin Neville tie up into the corner by Manny Garcia. Oh, and a chop. He gave him a chop and jaws at the crowd. You know, Chastity, you also have to say too that Ric Converse is almost like the measuring stick in CWF. He's a former Mid-Atlantic champion, former AWA champion. We can read a rap sheet of him, period. So for a newcomer like Manny Garcia to go up against Ric Converse definitely is a measuring stick here in the CWF Mid-Atlantic.
It's definitely a big deal for your debut in CWF to be in front of our fans here at the Salvation Army of Alamance County and against, Ric Converse. Like you said, someone so developed here at CWF. And Manny is holding his weight in the ring.
Sends him into the ropes into a shoulder tackle by Manny Garcia. I think he's catching Ric Converse off guard right now.
He's catching me off guard. Come on, Converse, Manny Garcia says.
It's almost like he's jarring at Ric Converse to let him know. It's almost like he's heard about Ric Converse. I mean, who hasn't?
Yeah, who hasn't heard about Ric Converse?
And Ric Converse has a big matchup at CWF 350. We've got to mention he's involved in that 6-man main event with Ric Converse, the heavyweight champion Arik Royal, and Andrew Everett Cross going a 3-on-3 against the Aftermath.
And several of the men involved in that match were some of the stars sent out to Philadelphia for National Pro Wrestling Day. And Ric Converse is no one to play with. Like you said, who hasn't heard of his name? Manny Garcia, he's stepping it up in there. I'm really impressed. I don't want to like him. I'm not saying I do, but I'm impressed with him in there.
You mentioned National Pro Wrestling Day. I remember the match quite clearly. It was Chiba Kid and Arik Royal against Ric Converse and Trevor Lee. And that's kind of started the feud between Trevor Lee and Andrew Everett Cross now because he's now unmasked.
And the feud between Ric Converse and the Aftermath. I mean, think about how much has changed since then. Chiba's lost his mask. Ric Converse lost his affiliation in the Aftermath. So many things have changed since February at National Pro Wrestling Day.
It's kind of weird. You get booted out. You go to National Pro Wrestling Day as a team, and once you get the May, you're now booted at the Aftermath, and you have a new leader, which is your former tag team partner in the match. It's kind of ironic. And this Manny Garcia is taking it to the first Ric Converse right now, keeping him grounded. Will that be enough to upset? In my opinion, if Manny were to win, it would be a huge upset. Making your debut and defeating the first Ric Converse.
Coming in here with such an aura of aggression and of arrogance, that Manny did when he entered the curtain, you know, swinging his flag and dancing a little. I mean, he acts as if, like you said, he's done his research on Ric Converse, and he's actually showing Ric Converse up right now, which I'm impressed.
Well, that's one thing that you have, I mean, like you said, Chastity, Ric Converse is known everywhere. So if you don't do your research when you're going one-on-one with Ric Converse, you're going to be in for a long night. And now you can tell Manny has done his research here tonight. He's carefully thought out Ric Converse, keeping him grounded, keeping him off his feet. And if he keeps that, we might have an upset here in the making.
Speaking of upsets, just moments ago, we watched Chet Sterling defeat Lee Valiant. Though he cheated, it was a very big deal for Chet Sterling, one of the biggest matches in his career. Could Manny Garcia's debut be one of the biggest matches? Obviously the biggest match we've seen of him thus far, but with his debut and everything. But this would be a very big deal for Manny Garcia.
Well, all indications right now, it looks like we're going to that point. And only a 2 count for the newcomer, Manny Garcia. Drawing at Red Jones, our senior official here in the CWF Mid-Atlantic.
Big knee to the bag by Garcia. He's showing no mercy in his debut.
He's keeping, Chastity, like you said, he's keeping Ric Converse grounded. And that's the key that we're going to have to do with a guy like Ric Converse, who's known everywhere. He's a veteran. There's no mistaking about it. If Manny can keep him grounded, he might have a good chance in this matchup tonight.
Ric Converse is fighting back.
Sends him back into the corner by Manny Garcia. He's jarring at the crowd.
Ric Converse moves and a chop on to Manny Garcia.
Ric Converse with several chops.
It seems that look at him point, and like you said, he's done his research. For every one thing Ric Converse does, Manny Garcia has a reversal or a way out of it. I'm impressed with Manny Garcia. I don't like him, but I'm impressed.
Definitely, Chastity. That's one way to make a debut here. Make your debut in the CWF Mid-Atlantic. Like I said, when you're going up against a guy like Ric Converse, you got to do your homework, and that's what he's doing right now. Big scoop slam. Is that enough to upset Ric Converse?
Only a 2.
Only a 2 count.
Manny Garcia arguing with official Red Jones, saying that was a 3.
And now he's jarring at the crowd. That might be a mistake when you're doing that against a guy like Ric Converse. Giving him time to get himself together. He's got him, I guess, got him at the torso, keeping Ric Converse grounded. Can Ric Converse come back in this matchup, Chastity?
I have faith in Ric Converse. He's had, like we mentioned earlier, he's had quite a few months, from doing National Pro Wrestling Day and with the aftermath falling apart. I mean, he's had some very impressive matches here lately, and this is just yet another one to add to the books. Manny Garcia should be thankful and grateful to be in the ring, but something tells me he's not grateful to be in the ring with Ric Converse.
Scoop slam by Manny Garcia, working on that torso of Ric Converse. Keeping Ric Converse grounded.
The fans getting behind Ric Converse.
Is that enough to get Ric Converse back in this matchup tonight?
Throwing those elbows, trying to break the hold. Ric's tired.
You can tell that both men are taking the toll. Fatigue has kicked in on Ric Converse. Manny Garcia has done a good job at keeping him down.
Oh.
Up to the back. for Ric Converse.
How impressive would it be for Manny Garcia's debut in CWF against someone so well-known and well-rounded like Ric Converse win? Like, how big of a deal would that be for Manny Garcia?
Chastity, that would be probably one of the hugest matches in his career. With Ric debuting against a guy like Ric Converse and being able to take him out, that's huge. What a slam by Manny Garcia on a Ric Converse. It's almost like he's been scouting Ric Converse. Ric Converse was setting up for the sky high, and he was able to, or the Richter scale, he set up and he blocked it. Uh-oh. Is he going for it? Looks like he's setting up for a razor's edge. And Ric Converse wins with a fall package.